Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. Today's topic is one that I don't think has been covered before by anybody that I've seen out there. So, sitting around thinking about topics when all of a sudden I got an A-OK from a friend of the channel by the name of Jay Ogilvy. Hi Jay. Jay sent me a whole bunch of Grimjack books, along with a couple other books inside the A-OK. And I said to Jay in a message thanking him, is there anything I could do in return for this wonderful gift that you've sent? And he said, why don't you do a video on First Comics, the company? So here I am. I'm about to do a video about First Comics, the company. Let us get going here, because I know you can't wait to see it or hear it. Touch it? I don't know. All right. First Comics is an American comic book publisher that was active from 1983 until 1991, and then it was reactivated from 2011 to current day. Known mostly for books like American Flag, Grimjack, Nexus, Badger, Dreadstar, and John Sable, the company has left a definite imprint within comics. First Comics took early advantage of the direct market, attracting and manages to attract talent from both DC and Marvel by giving them creator rights and better pay than they were getting at their other jobs. And also they did not join the Comics Code Authority. That's a big thing, because if you'll note, when you look at one of these covers, there's no CCA approval on it. By not joining the CCA, they were able to give their artists more freedom towards their topics they covered and the stories they read. Yes, there may be a bare female part or two and a bare male part or two in some of these books, and also a lot of the content is very I would say this was mature content before the mature content warning was put on comic books. So that was a good way to start things. Based in Evanston, Illinois, First Comics was co-founded by Ken Levin and Mike Gold. That's Ken F. Levin, for those, because apparently he liked to have the F. It began in 1983 with the talent search, and they got the following people. They got people like Frank Bruner, Mike Grell, Howard Chaykin, Joe Staton, Timothy Turan, and Jim Starlin. Most of them came from Marvel or DC. In 1984, First acquired a company called Capital Comics, which gave them the Badger and Nexus as their properties, and so they were transferred over. The Badger, of course, is a very interesting book. The only Badger ones I have is from Capital Comics. I don't have any First Comics Badgers, but I should get my hands on some. The first title that came out was Howard Chaykin's American Flag. John Ostrander and Tim Tim Turan's Grimjack. Let's take a look at the comic name. Maybe I'll be able to read it better. Oh my lord. It doesn't say on the cover. Well, we'll go with it. Let's open it up real quick. You know, I wrote this down 3 times and I can't read any of them, the names that I wrote here. So it's Timothy Truman, because of course I should have known that. Timothy Truman is the person that I was looking for. All right, Timothy Truman's Grimjack, Nexus, Badger, Dreadstar, which was brought over from Epic Comics when Jim Starlin came over, and John Sable, which was also briefly signed for and adapted for television, but was never turned over. It had stayed in development hell, as they call it, for a long time. Also in 84, they sued Marvel because Marvel was trying to push their books out of the direct market and keep them away. Marvel was pissy about losing Jim Starlin and some of the others. So they were not happy about it they decided to go for it. Marvel's suit claimed that First Comics and other companies that had come out around this time and other independent companies were trying to cut the market with a whole bunch of new titles and just overflooding the market. And never mind that that's technically what capitalism is all about. That they got mad about it. Moving to Chicago in 1985, Mike Gold left the company and moved on to DC Comics, where he became a senior advisor. Unfortunately, at the time, he brought back Grell, Howard Chaykin, and Timothy Truman at the time with him. Eventually, over the course of the next year or so, Mike Grell still, however, had a big say in what happened with John Sable, and I think he actually did it right through till the end. I'd have to double check that one, but let's take a look here. Mike Grell was still doing it as of issue 31 here, so we'll take care of that. But Michael, as I said, he left the company, thus leaving, one founder with the Ken F. Levin left. In 1986, despite all the success in the direct market, First Comics decided to try to expand with newsstand versions. They later found themselves in trouble over their creators' rights policies. Their last projects before they died in 1991 were an English translation of The Lone Wolf Cub, Japanese, which was a Japanese manga, and a revival of Classics Illustrated. They stopped publishing in 1991 and folded up the company in 92. However, the company would return in 2011 with first co-founder Levin he made an announcement that the company would resume publishing with new material. Publishing restarted again in 2014, and then they merged with a company by the name of Devil's Due Publishing in June 2015. They started reprinting their older properties, and they did 5 new titles at that time. The two companies parted ways in 2019 and went back to being their own companies again. Current titles in First Comics after 2019 were books like Oh and Love, I'm so sorry. I cannot read my own writing. This is getting really bad. I really need glasses, and I really need to get my writing better. Books like Ord and Love Torn by Matt and John Yuan, Night Stalker by Orlando Harding, and The Dog Witch Omnibus by Dan Schaefer. The company started adding board games in 2020, starting with an adaptation of The Boys. They turned it into a board game. During the period where they were not active for First Comics, Dark Horse published a bunch of collected editions of the original stuff. Now, let's all go to the books now. I have a few books here from this company. They're all from the first run of the pre-1992 books, because I hadn't bought any of the other ones, which could be why I'm so confused by that name. That is going to drive me crazy. I will put the name that I'm trying to read in the credits, to the description of this video, because I apologize. I really have to get writing, but my writing get better. I'm getting really bad at this. But let us begin. This is Dreadstar 27, which is the first issue of Dreadstar published under the First Comics banner. We have 27 and 28. Why I laugh when people call this the flagship of the First Comics line. I laugh so hard because, of course, it's American flag. Number 1. Two. And 3. This is Grimjack, the next few ones I'm going to show. I'm going to show Grimjack 1, which I bought from Grimjack 2. Grimjack 3. Four. Five. And 6. And their best-selling book, at times it was American Flag, but overall, one of their longest-running books and their best-selling book overall, Jon Sable Freelance, Issue 1. Ten. 11. 12. No, I'm not showing every First Comic I own. I own a good chunk of Sable. 15. And some Dreadstar. 17. 28. And 31. I wonder who Jon Sable's going up against in this issue. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Please tell me if you own any of these books, if you've liked any, if you've ever read any of the First Comics series, and what you thought, that they did, and what you thought of them. And that's, of course, can count for the 2014, the 2014 revival and all that other stuff as well. I've seen the boys. I've seen it played, the boys board game, but it wasn't something that appealed to me because I didn't watch it for very long. And I could be wrong. It could not even be the boys board game in the end when I think about it, but I'm pretty sure it was because I noticed that Starlight was involved on it. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. My name's Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. But before we go, I'm sorry about my issues with reading and stuff. I don't like to pause my videos because I have a tendency to accidentally erase them when I hit pause, or stop them and all that other stuff, and I can't get back to it, and so I don't pause my videos while I'm recording for that reason. So bear with me on those types of things. I'm trying to fix my problems. I do have an appointment to get my eyes checked. Thank you very much. Have a great day.